The alarm bells rang through Station Omega-7 like angry metal birds. Marcus Webb dropped his wrench and wiped grease from his hands with an old rag. He had been fixing the water recycling system again. The thing broke down every few weeks like clockwork. "What now?" Marcus said to nobody in particular. The station was always having some kind of problem. Pirates, broken equipment, or crazy traders trying to sell stolen goods. He walked toward the main control room where the noise was coming from. Jake. Miller was standing at the big screen that showed space around their station. Jake was the station boss, and he looked worried. Very worried. His face was pale and his hands were shaking a little. "Marcus, you need to see this," Jake said without turning around. "We got something strange out there." Marcus looked at the screen. At first, he saw nothing but stars and empty space. Then Jake pointed to a small dot that was moving slowly toward them. It did not look like any ship Marcus had ever seen before. "Is that a ship?" Marcus asked. "It looks weird." "That's what I thought too. But look at this." Jake pressed some buttons and the image got bigger. Now Marcus could see the object clearly. It was definitely a ship, but not like anything humans had built. The hull was smooth and curved like a drop of water. It seemed to be made of some kind of crystal that caught the light from nearby stars. Blue and silver colors moved across its surface like oil on water. "Beautiful," Marcus said quietly. Then he noticed something wrong. "But it's not moving right. Look at how it's spinning." Jake nodded. "The thing is tumbling end over end. No control at all. And we're picking up some kind of emergency signal. Very weak, though." Marcus studied the ship more carefully. He had been fixing things his whole life. First cars back on Earth, then mining equipment on Mars, and now starships out here on the edge of known space. He could tell when something was broken just by looking at it. This ship was definitely broken. "Any life signs?" Marcus asked. "Maybe. The scanners can't get a good reading through that hull material, but the ship is still powered. We can see energy readings." Marcus made up his mind quickly. "We need to bring it in." Jake looked at him like he was crazy. "Are you nuts? We don't know what that thing is or where it came from. Could be dangerous. Could be some kind of trap. Could be someone who needs help," Marcus said back. "Look at it, Jake. That ship is dying out there. If there's someone inside, they don't have long." "It's not our problem, Marcus. We should call the Trade Federation. Let them handle it." Marcus shook his head. "By the time they get here, whoever is in that ship will be dead. We have a tractor, beam. We can pull it into Bay 3. Jake was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the strange ship on the screen, then at Marcus. Finally, he sighed. "You're going to do this no matter what I say, aren't you?" "Probably." "Fine. But if this goes bad, I'm blaming you." Jake started pressing buttons on his control panel. Activating tractor beam, bringing the unknown vessel into Bay 3. The process took almost an hour. The strange ship was bigger than it looked and very heavy. Their tractor beam had to work hard to pull it in slowly and carefully. Marcus watched the whole time, studying every detail of the ship's design. When the bay doors finally closed and air filled the space, Marcus was already putting on his work suit. He grabbed his toolkit and headed for the bay. Jake followed him, carrying a scanner and looking nervous. Bay 3 was the biggest cargo bay on the station. The strange ship sat in the middle of it, like a giant jewel. Up close, Marcus could see that the crystal hull was not smooth after all. It had tiny patterns carved into it that seemed to move and change as he watched. "Still reading power," Jake said, looking at his scanner. "And there's definitely someone inside. One life sign, very weak." Marcus found what looked like an airlock on the side of the ship. The door was different from human designs, more like a flower that opened in sections. He studied it for a few minutes, then pressed his hand against a smooth panel next to it. The door opened with a soft, musical sound. "Well, that was easy," Jake said. "Maybe too easy." Inside the ship was even more beautiful than outside. The walls glowed with soft blue light and everything was curved and flowing like it had been grown instead of built. There were no sharp corners anywhere. Marcus felt like he was inside a living thing instead of a machine. They found the pilot in what had to be the bridge. She was slumped over a control panel that looked like it was made of liquid silver. She appeared to be human, but not quite right. Her skin was too pale, almost blue-white. Her hair was silver like starlight, and when Marcus carefully turned her head to check for injuries, he saw that her eyes were completely silver with no pupils. Definitely not human, Jake whispered. But close enough, Marcus said. Help me get her to the medical bay. They carried the unconscious pilot through the station corridors. She was surprisingly light, like her bones were hollow. Her breathing was shallow but steady. In the medical bay, the automatic systems took over, checking her vital signs and starting treatment. She's stable for now, Jake said, reading the medical displays. But I don't know how long that will last. Our equipment is designed for humans. Marcus was already heading back toward the bay. Then we better figure out how to fix her ship. She might need it to stay alive. Marcus, wait. We don't know anything about that technology. It could be dangerous. Marcus stopped and looked back at Jake. She's someone's daughter, Jake. Someone's sister or friend. Maybe someone's mother. She's lost and hurt and a long way from home. If we were out there and our ship broke down, wouldn't we want someone to help us? Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Yeah, I guess we would. Then let's get to work. Marcus Webb crawled out from under the broken cooling unit and wiped sweat from his forehead. The machine had been making strange noises for 3 days. Now it was completely dead. He picked up his tools and sighed. Another day, another broken machine on Station Omega 7. The station was old and falling apart. It sat on the very edge of human space where few ships ever came. Most people who worked here were either running from something or had nowhere else to go. Marcus was both. He walked through the narrow hallways toward his workshop. The walls were covered with pipes and wires that hummed and buzzed constantly. Some of the lights flickered. The air smelled like metal and oil and recycled air that had been recycled too many times. Jake Miller was waiting for him in the workshop. Jake ran the station and always looked tired. He was holding a cup of coffee that had probably been reheated 6 times. Marcus, we got a problem, Jake said. The long-range scanner picked up something weird about 2 hours ago. Marcus set down his tools and looked at Jake. What kind of weird? The kind where we might all die weird. Come see. They walked to the control room where all the important equipment lived. The room was small and cramped with screens and control. Panels covering every wall. Jake pointed to the main display screen. Look at this, Jake said. He pressed some buttons, and the screen showed a picture of space around their station. At first, Marcus saw nothing unusual, just stars and darkness. Then Jake made the picture bigger, and Marcus saw it. A ship was drifting about 10,000 kilometers away. But it was like no ship Marcus had ever seen before. The ship was shaped like a teardrop made of crystal. It caught the light from the nearby star and threw it back in rainbow colors. Blue and silver patterns flowed across its surface like water. It looked more like a work of art than a machine. Beautiful, Marcus said softly. Then he noticed how the ship was moving. But it's in trouble. The crystal ship was tumbling slowly end over end. No controlled flight at all. It was drifting toward their station, but not on purpose. Any signals from it? Marcus asked. Jake nodded. Weak emergency beacon, automatic distress call. But here's the strange part. The signal is not in any language our computers recognize. Marcus studied the ship more carefully. He had been fixing machines since he was 12 years old. His father had been a mechanic, and his grandfather too. Marcus could look at any broken machine and usually figure out what was wrong with it. This ship was definitely broken. Life signs, Marcus asked. Maybe. The scanner can't get a clear reading through that hull material, but there's still power in the ship. We can see energy patterns. Marcus made his decision. We need to help them. Jake stared at him. Are you crazy? We don't know what that thing is. Could be aliens, could be dangerous, could be some kind of weapon. Could be someone who needs help, Marcus said. That ship is dying out there, Jake. If someone is inside, they won't last much longer. Not our problem. We should call the trade. Federation. Let them handle it. Marcus shook his head. The nearest Federation ship is 6 days away. Whoever is in that ship will be dead by then. We can use the tractor beam to bring it into the cargo bay. Jake was quiet for a long time. He looked at the crystal ship on the screen, then back at Marcus. You know this could get us in serious trouble, helping unknown aliens without permission. When do you need permission to save someone's life? Jake sighed deeply. You're going to do this no matter what I say, aren't you? Yes. Fine. But when this goes wrong, and it will go wrong, I'm putting it all in your report. Jake started working the controls. Activating tractor beam, bringing unknown vessel into cargo bay 2. It took almost 2 hours to bring the ship in. The crystal vessel was much heavier than it looked. Their old tractor beams struggled to move, it slowly and carefully. Marcus watched every second, studying the ship's design. The ship had no sharp edges anywhere. Everything was curved and flowing like it had grown instead of being built. There were no obvious weapons or engines that Marcus could see, just smooth crystal surfaces that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. When the cargo bay doors finally sealed and air filled the space, Marcus was already putting on his environmental suit. He grabbed his biggest toolkit and headed for the bay. Jake followed, carrying a medical scanner and muttering complaints under his breath. Cargo Bay 2 was the largest open space on the station. The crystal ship sat in the center like a giant gem. Up close, Marcus could see that the hull was covered with tiny symbols that seemed to move and change as he watched. Still reading power, Jake said, checking his scanner. And there's definitely someone alive in there. One person, very weak vital signs. Marcus walked around the ship looking for a way inside. Finally, he found what had to be a door on the side of the vessel. It was circular and covered with the same flowing symbols as the rest of the ship. There was a small panel next to it that glowed softly. Marcus touched the panel with his gloved hand. The door opened immediately with a sound like wind chimes. That was either very easy or very stupid, Jake said nervously. The inside of the ship was even more amazing than the outside. The walls glowed with soft blue light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The air was warm and smelled like flowers. Everything was curved and organic looking. Marcus felt like he was inside a living creature instead of a machine. They found the pilot on what had to be the bridge. She was collapsed over a control panel that looked like it was made of liquid metal. At first glance, she appeared human, but Marcus could tell she wasn't. Her skin was pale blue-white like moonlight. Her hair was silver and seemed to move by itself, even though there was no wind. When Marcus carefully lifted her head to check for injuries, he saw her eyes were completely silver with no pupils at all. Definitely not human, Jake whispered. Close enough, Marcus said. Help me get her to the medical bay. They carefully carried the unconscious pilot through the station. She was surprisingly light, as if her bones were hollow like a bird's. Her breathing was very shallow but steady. In the medical bay, the automatic systems began working immediately. Scanners checked her vital signs while machines started basic treatment. The displays showed her condition was stable, but weak. Our equipment is designed for humans, Jake said, reading the medical data. I don't know how long it will keep her alive. Marcus was already heading back toward the cargo bay. Then we better figure out how to fix her ship. She might need it to survive. Marcus, wait. We don't know anything about that technology. It could be dangerous to touch. Marcus stopped and turned to face Jake. She's somebody, Jake. Someone's daughter or sister or friend. She's lost and hurt, and far from home. If we were drifting out there in a broken ship, wouldn't we want someone to help us? Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. Yeah, we would. Then let's get to work. Marcus stood inside the crystal ship and felt completely lost. He had been staring at the control panels for 3 hours and still had no idea what anything did. The displays showed symbols that moved and changed like living things. The controls looked like they were made of liquid silver that flowed and shaped itself as he watched. "This is impossible," said Tom Bradley, the station's chief engineer. Tom had come to help, but now he was shaking his head. "Nothing here makes any sense. No buttons, no switches, no screens we can understand. How does anyone fly this thing?" Marcus touched one of the silver panels gently. It felt warm under his fingers and glowed brighter for a moment. Then symbols appeared in the air above it, floating like tiny stars. "Don't touch anything," Tom said quickly. "You might break something important." "It's already broken," Marcus said. "Look around. Half the lights are dim. The air feels stale. Something is wrong with the life support systems." Tom looked at his scanner again. "Power levels are dropping slowly but steadily. Whatever damaged this ship also hurt its main systems. We need to get that alien woman awake so she can tell us how to fix it." Marcus nodded, and they walked back to the medical bay. The alien pilot was still unconscious, but her vital signs were stronger. Her pale blue skin had more color now, and her breathing was deeper. "Any change?" Marcus asked Jake, who was watching the medical displays. "She's getting better slowly, but she hasn't woken up yet. The doctor program thinks she has something like a concussion, could be hours or days before she's conscious again." Marcus looked at the woman lying on the medical bed. She looked so young and fragile. Her silver hair spread across the pillow like moonbeams. He wondered who she was and where she came from. "We can't wait," Marcus said finally. "Her ship is dying. If the power fails completely, we might not be able to save it." "Then what do you suggest?" Tom asked. "We can't read their language. We don't understand their technology. Their ship might as well be magic." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Magic follows rules. It has to. Everything follows rules, even if we don't understand them yet." That night, after Tom and Jake went to sleep, Marcus went back to the crystal ship alone. He brought his tools and a portable work light. The ship's interior was dimmer now, the blue glow fainter than before. Marcus sat in what he thought was the pilot's chair and just looked around. He didn't touch anything at first. He just tried to understand what he was seeing. The ship was designed differently than any human vessel. Human ships were built in sections with walls and doors separating different areas. This ship flowed from one area to another like water. The bridge became the living area, became the engine room without any clear boundaries. After an hour of just looking, Marcus noticed something interesting. All the symbols and displays seemed connected somehow. When one panel flickered, others would flicker too, but in a pattern, like ripples in water. Marcus touched one of the dim panels gently. It glowed brighter and symbols appeared. When it did, other panels around the ship also glowed brighter. Marcus touched another panel and watched the pattern spread. "It's all connected," he said out loud. "The whole ship is like one big machine instead of lots of little machines." He spent the next 4 hours just touching panels and watching how the ship responded. Slowly, he began to see the patterns. When he touched certain panels, the air circulation improved. When he touched others, the lights got brighter. It was like learning to play a musical instrument. Each panel was a note, and the ship was the song. The next morning, Tom and Jake found Marcus still in the ship, covered in sweat and looking exhausted. "Have you been here all night?" Jake asked. "I think I'm starting to understand it," Marcus said excitedly. "Look at this." He touched a series of panels in sequence. The ship's lights brightened noticeably, and the air started moving better. Tom checked his scanner. power levels are up 10%. How did you do that? The ship doesn't work like our ships do. It's not mechanical. It's more like music or art. Everything has to be in harmony. When one system is out of tune, it affects all the others. That's impossible, Tom said. Machines don't work that way. Their machines do, Marcus said. He touched another sequence of panels, and a soft humming sound filled the ship. Listen, the ship is trying to sing, but some of the notes are wrong. Jake looked at Tom. Has he lost his mind? Maybe, Tom said, but the power levels are definitely increasing. Over the next 2 days, Marcus spent every free moment in the crystal ship. He began to understand that each panel controlled not just one system, but influenced the whole ship. It was like conducting an orchestra where every instrument affected every other instrument. The other engineers on the station thought he was crazy. They brought their own scanners and tools but couldn't make sense of anything. The ship's technology was too different from human designs. "You're wasting your time," said Lisa Chen, the station's electronics expert. "This technology is probably thousands of years ahead of ours. We should just keep the pilot alive until help arrives." But Marcus kept working. He found that if he touched certain panels in the right order, he could make different systems work better. It wasn't about fixing individual parts. It was about bringing the whole ship back into balance. On the 3rd day, the alien pilot woke up. Marcus was in the ship when Jake's voice came over the radio. "Marcus, get to the medical bay now. She's awake." When Marcus arrived, the pilot was sitting up in bed looking confused and frightened. Her silver eyes were wide and she was speaking in a language that sounded like music. "Easy," Marcus said gently, holding up his hands to show he wasn't dangerous. "You're safe. We found your ship and brought you here." The woman looked at Marcus carefully. Then she spoke again, but this time in accented English. "You are human." "Yes. My name is Marcus. This is Jake and Tom. We're trying to help you." The woman's eyes widened with surprise. "Humans? But we are far from your space. How did you find me?" "Your ship drifted to our station. It was badly damaged. We brought you aboard to help." The woman tried to stand, but was still too weak. "My ship, is it safe? Is it still functional?" "We moved it to our cargo bay. It's safe, but still damaged. I've been trying to repair it." The woman stared at Marcus in shock. "You have been inside my ship? Working on the systems?" "Yes. I hope that's okay. I was trying to keep it alive until you woke up." The woman was quiet for a long moment. Then, she said something that surprised everyone. "Show me what you have done." Marcus helped her walk slowly to the cargo bay. She was still weak but determined to see her ship. When they entered the bay, she stopped and stared. The crystal ship was glowing brighter than it had since they brought it aboard. The symbols on its hull were moving in steady patterns and the air around it hummed with energy. "Impossible," the woman whispered. She looked at Marcus with amazement. "You made the harmony stronger." "How?" "I listened to the ship," Marcus said, simply. "It told me what it needed." The woman stared at him as if he had just performed a miracle. "But you are human. Your people are not supposed to understand harmonic resonance. It takes my people years of training to learn what you have done in 3 days." "Maybe humans learn differently," Marcus said. The woman smiled for the first time since waking up. "Maybe they do. I am Elena, and I think you and I need to talk." Marcus finished the last repairs on Elena's ship just as the proximity alarm started screaming. He was under the main console, adjusting the harmonic resonance crystals when the whole station shook. "What was that?" Marcus called out, sliding out from under the control panel. Elena was at her ship's sensors, her face pale with worry. "Ships approaching fast. Very large ships." She looked at Marcus with fear in her silver eyes. "They found me. Jake's voice came over the station speakers, crackling with static and panic. "All personnel to emergency stations. We have 6 unknown vessels approaching. They're huge and they're not responding to our communications." Marcus and Elena ran to the cargo bay windows. Outside in space, 6 ships were approaching Station Omega-7. They were nothing like Elena's elegant crystal vessel. These ships were massive and dark, built like weapons with sharp angles and glowing red engines. "Voss's ships," Elena whispered. "No," Marcus said, studying the approaching vessels more carefully. "Look at the markings on the hulls. Those are Dominion symbols." Elena pressed closer to the window and gasped. "You're right. But that's worse. If the Dominion found me here, it means my family sent them. They'll take me back for the wedding." The lead ship was enormous, easily 10 times larger than Elena's vessel. It moved with purpose and authority, followed by 5 smaller but still massive escort ships. As they watched, beams of energy reached out from the lead ship and surrounded Station Omega-7 in a containment field. Jake's voice came over the speakers again. "Unknown vessels. This is Station Omega-7. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." A new voice answered, deep and commanding. "This is Prince David Valdris of the Stellar Dominion. We are here to retrieve Princess Elena Valdris. Surrender her immediately, and no harm will come to your station." Elena closed her eyes and sighed. "My brother. I should have known Father would send David to find me." "Is that good or bad?" Marcus asked. "David is complicated. He loves me, but he always follows Father's orders. He will take me home no matter what I say." The station shook again as the Dominion ships moved closer. Marcus could see smaller ships launching from the main vessel, heading for Station Omega-7's docking bays. "We need to go," Marcus said. "Is your ship ready to fly?" Elena nodded. "Thanks to you, it's better than it was before the damage. But Marcus, we cannot outrun those ships. Dominion vessels are much faster than anything humans have built." "Maybe we don't need to outrun them. Maybe we need to talk to them." Elena stared at him. "You want to surrender?" "I want to prove a point. You said your people think humans are primitive. What if we show them they're wrong?" Before Elena could respond, the cargo bay doors burst open. Jake ran in, followed by 6 tall figures in gleaming armor. The figures moved with fluid grace and carried weapons that hummed with energy. Their armor was beautiful, but clearly deadly. The lead figure removed his helmet, revealing a face similar to Elena's, but more angular and stern. His silver hair was cut short, and his silver eyes were cold with authority. "Sister," Prince David said in a voice like controlled thunder, "you have caused our family great worry and embarrassment." Elena stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. "David, I tried to warn Father about Voss. He would not listen. Lord Commander Voss is to be your husband in 10 days. Father has made his decision. You will return home immediately to prepare for the wedding." "I will not marry that monster." Prince David's expression softened slightly. "Elena, I know you are frightened. But this marriage will bring peace to millions of people. Sometimes we must sacrifice our personal happiness for the greater good." Marcus stepped forward. "Maybe there's another way." Prince David noticed Marcus for the first time. His silver eyes studied the human with surprise and then dismissal. "You are human. This does not concern you." "Actually, it does," Marcus said, calmly. "Your sister's ship was badly damaged when she arrived here. My people repaired it." David laughed, but it was not a pleasant sound. "Impossible. Human technology is centuries behind ours. You could not even understand our most basic systems." "Want to bet?" Elena grabbed Marcus's arm. "Marcus, do not challenge him. David is proud and stubborn. If you make him angry—" "If I'm wrong, nothing changes," Marcus said to David. "But if I'm right, maybe you'll listen to what your sister has been trying to tell you." Prince David studied Marcus more carefully. "You Claim to have repaired my sister's ship? I claim to have made it better than it was before. That is completely impossible. Marcus shrugged. Then you have nothing to worry about. Test me. David was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, and it was not a friendly smile. Very well, human. But when you fail, you will never speak to me again, and my sister will return home immediately. And if I succeed? If you can prove that a primitive human can match Dominion engineering, I will listen to everything my sister has to say about Lord Commander Voss. Elena looked worried. David, what are you planning? Prince David gestured to one of his guards, who activated a holographic display. The image showed a massive Dominion warship, but it was clearly damaged. Huge sections of the hull were twisted and blackened. Energy conduits sparked and flickered weakly. The battleship Eternal Glory was damaged in a recent battle with pirates, David explained. Our best engineers have declared it beyond repair. The harmonic resonance systems are completely destroyed. It would take months to rebuild them, and we need the ship operational within days. Marcus studied the holographic image carefully. The damage was extensive, but he could see patterns in it, like a song that had been interrupted, leaving discord where harmony should be. You want me to repair that? Marcus asked. I want you to try. When you fail, it will prove that humans are as primitive as we believed. My sister will stop this foolish rebellion and accept her duty. Elena stepped between them. David, this is not fair. That ship is 10 times larger than mine. The systems are completely different. A master engineer should be able to work with any harmonic resonance technology, David said coldly. Unless this human is not as skilled as he claims. Marcus looked at the damaged warship in the hologram. It would be the biggest challenge of his life. If he failed, Elena would be forced to marry Voss, and the truth about the villain's plans might never come out. But if he succeeded, I'll need access to the ship, Marcus said, and I'll need Elena to help me understand the specific systems. Absolutely not, David said. You will work alone. If humans are truly capable, you should not need our help. Marcus nodded slowly. Fair enough, but I have one condition. You are hardly in a position to make demands. If I succeed in repairing your warship, you have to listen to everything Elena wants to tell you about Voss. Really listen, not just pretend to listen. Prince David considered this. And if you fail? If I fail, I'll personally escort Elena back to your father and recommend that she go through with the wedding. Elena gasped. Marcus, no. You do not understand what you are promising. Marcus looked at her and smiled. Trust me, Princess. I've been listening to broken machines my whole life. Your brother's warship is just a bigger machine. Prince David extended his hand to Marcus. You have a deal, human. Prepare to be humiliated. Marcus shook the alien prince's hand. Prepare to be surprised. As they prepared to leave for the damaged warship, Elena whispered to Marcus, Are you certain about this? That ship is beyond anything you have worked on before. Marcus whispered back, Elena, I've never been more certain of anything in my life. That ship wants to sing again. I can hear it calling. Elena smiled despite her worry. Then let us go make beautiful music together. Marcus stood inside the damaged warship Eternal Glory and felt overwhelmed. The ship was massive beyond anything he had imagined. Corridors stretched for kilometers in every direction. The bridge alone was larger than all of Station Omega 7, and it was broken, badly broken. The harmonic resonance crystals that powered the ship were cracked and dark. Control panels hung dead and silent. The beautiful flowing lines that should have carried energy throughout the vessel were twisted and scarred. From battle damage, Prince David stood behind Marcus with 6 Dominion engineers. They all watched as Marcus walked around the bridge, touching surfaces and listening to the ship's faint heartbeat. Well, human, David said after an hour of silence, are you ready to admit this is impossible? Marcus ignored the prince and kept working. He had spent the first hour just getting to know the ship, learning its rhythms and patterns. Now he was beginning to understand what had gone wrong. "The pirates didn't just damage your ship," Marcus said finally. "They used some kind of harmonic weapon to disrupt your resonance systems, like hitting a bell with a hammer to make it ring off-key." One of the Dominion engineers, a tall woman with blue skin and golden eyes, looked surprised. "That is actually correct." "How did you know that?" "Because I can hear it," Marcus said simply. "The ship is trying to sing, but it can't remember the right notes." Prince David frowned. "Ships do not sing, human. They operate according to scientific principles." Marcus looked at him with surprise. "You really don't hear it? The harmonic resonance, the way energy flows through the crystals, the rhythm of the life support systems. It's all music." The Dominion engineers looked at each other with confusion. The blue-skinned woman stepped forward. "I am Chief Engineer Lisa Starweaver. I have studied harmonic resonance for 40 years. Ships do not make music." "Then you haven't been listening," Marcus said gently. He walked to the largest crystal formation on the bridge, a beautiful structure that rose from floor to ceiling, like a frozen waterfall. But the crystal was dark and cracked. Marcus placed his hands on the crystal and closed his eyes. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, very faintly, the crystal began to glow. The Dominion engineers gasped. "Impossible," Chief Engineer Starweaver whispered. "That crystal has been completely dead for 3 days." "It's not dead," Marcus said, still touching the crystal. "It's just confused. The harmonic weapon scrambled its memory, but the basic structure is still intact." He began touching other crystals around the bridge, always in specific sequences that seemed random but felt right to him. Slowly, very slowly, the crystals began to respond. Faint lights appeared in the control panels. The air circulation system started working again. Prince David watched in amazement as the bridge came back to life under Marcus's hands. "How are you doing this?" "I'm teaching the ship to remember its song," Marcus said. He was sweating from concentration and effort. "Each crystal needs to be tuned to work with all the others, like instruments in an orchestra." For the next 6 hours, Marcus worked his way through the ship. The Dominion engineers followed him, watching in stunned silence as systems that had been declared unrepairable began working again. Marcus found that he could feel the ship's pain where it was damaged and its joy when systems came back online. It was like healing a living creature instead of fixing a machine. "The weapon that hit you was designed to cause maximum chaos," Marcus explained as he worked on the main engine crystals. "But it followed patterns. Once you understand the pattern, you can reverse it." Chief Engineer Starweaver was taking detailed notes on everything Marcus did. "This is revolutionary," she said to Prince David. "He is using techniques I have never seen before. The way he reads the harmonic patterns." "Is it working?" David asked. "Better than working. He is not just repairing the damage. He is making the systems more efficient than they were originally. By the end of the day, the Eternal Glory was not only functional, but running at 115% of normal efficiency. The engines hummed with perfect harmony. The weapon systems charged faster than their original specifications. Even the life support systems worked better than before." Marcus collapsed into the captain's chair, exhausted but satisfied. "There you go. One repaired warship better than new." Prince David stared at the diagnostic displays showing all systems operating at peak efficiency. "This is impossible. You are human. Humans do not understand harmonic resonance technology." "Maybe the problem is not that humans don't understand," Marcus said. "Maybe the problem is that you've been thinking about it wrong." Before Prince David could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. A communications officer rushed onto the bridge. "Your Highness, we have an emergency. Unknown ships are attacking Station Omega 7. They're using harmonic weapons." David's face went pale. "Voss, he found us." He turned to Marcus. "Human, I admit you have proven your abilities, but now we have a real crisis. My sister is still on that station." Marcus jumped up from the chair. "Elena's still there? Why didn't you bring her to the warship?" "Because I thought you would fail, and I wanted her to witness your humiliation," David said with regret. "Now she is trapped." On the main screen, they could see Station Omega-7 under attack by 5 dark ships with red markings. The station's shields were failing under bombardment from harmonic weapons designed to tear apart human technology. "Those are Voss's ships," Prince David said grimly. "He must have been tracking us." "Can we help them?" Marcus asked. "The Eternal Glory is powerful, but Voss has 5 ships, and his weapons are specifically designed to destroy harmonic resonance systems." Marcus studied the battle on the screen. The dark ships were attacking in formation, using their harmonic weapons to systematically destroy the station's defenses. But their attack pattern looked familiar. "I've seen this before," Marcus said suddenly. "They're using the same kind of weapon that damaged your ship. Which means what?" Marcus grinned. "Which means I know how to beat them. But I'll need your engineers to trust me and follow my instructions exactly." Chief Engineer Starweaver stepped forward. "After what you did today, I will follow your instructions, even if they seem impossible." "Good. Because what I'm about to suggest is going to sound completely crazy." Marcus quickly explained his plan. Instead of fighting Voss's ships directly, they would use the Eternal Glory's repaired harmonic systems to create a resonance field that would turn the enemy's own weapons against them. "That could work," Starweaver said with excitement. "But it would require perfect timing and precise harmonic calculations." "I can handle the timing," Marcus said. "Can your people handle the calculations?" "We can try." Prince David looked at Marcus with new respect. "You would risk your life to save a station full of humans you barely know?" "Elena is on that station," Marcus said simply. "And those are my people being attacked." David nodded slowly. "Then let us go save my sister and your people." The Eternal Glory rushed toward the battle with Marcus coordinating the harmonic systems and Chief Engineer Starweaver managing the technical details. As they approached the attacking ships, Marcus could hear the discord of the harmonic weapons tearing apart Station Omega-7. "Now," Marcus called out. The Eternal Glory released a perfectly tuned harmonic pulse that traveled through space like a wave of music. When it hit Voss's ships, their own weapons turned against them, creating feedback loops that disabled their systems one by one. Within minutes, all 5 attacking ships were drifting helplessly in space. "Impossible," Prince David whispered. "You defeated 5 warships without firing a single shot." "I told you," Marcus said with a tired smile. "It's all about the music." As they rescued Elena from the damaged station, Prince David put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Human, Marcus, I owe you an apology. And I believe I owe my sister a very long conversation about Lord Commander Voss." Marcus nodded. "Just remember your promise. Listen to what she has to say. After today, I will. Listen to anything either of you want to tell me." 2 weeks later, Marcus stood in the Grand Council chamber of the Stellar Dominion and tried not to feel overwhelmed. The chamber was enormous, carved from a single crystal that rose hundreds of meters into the air. Thousands of representatives from across the galaxy filled floating platforms that moved slowly around the central speaking area. He had never seen so many different alien species in one place. There were beings made of living light, creatures that looked like walking trees, and others that defied description. All of them were staring at him. Marcus wore the finest clothes Elena could find for him, but he still felt like a mechanic pretending to be something important. Which, he supposed, was exactly what he was. "Are you ready?" Elena asked quietly. She stood beside him wearing royal robes that sparkled like starlight. She looked every inch a princess, but Marcus could see the nervousness in her silver eyes. "As ready as I'll ever be," Marcus said. "Are you sure this will work?" "Prince David has presented all the evidence we gathered from Voss's ships. The Council knows about the assassination plot now, but they still need to see proof that humans can be valuable allies." At the center of the chamber, a tall figure in golden robes called for attention. Marcus recognized Emperor Valdris, Elena's father, from the holographic images he had seen. The Emperor was an imposing figure with long silver hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. "Noble representatives," the Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. "We gather today to address serious accusations against Lord Commander Voss and to consider a new alliance proposal." On one of the floating platforms, Lord Commander Voss stood with his supporters. He was even more frightening in person than in the holograms. His red eyes burned with hatred as he looked at Elena and Marcus. "These accusations are lies," Voss declared, his voice harsh and angry. "This human has poisoned the minds of the royal family with his primitive trickery." "Primitive trickery," Emperor Valdris repeated thoughtfully. "An interesting phrase. Let us examine this claim." A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber showing the battle at Station Omega 7. The recording showed Marcus coordinating the harmonic systems that defeated Voss's entire fleet without firing a single shot. Murmurs of amazement swept through the chamber. Many of the representatives had never seen anything like it. "Lord Commander Voss," the Emperor continued, "can you explain how a single human using primitive trickery was able to defeat 5 of your most advanced warships?" Voss's face grew darker with rage. "That battle was a fluke. Humans are inferior, creatures who barely understand their own technology, much less ours." "Really?" said a new voice. Chief Engineer Starweaver floated up on her platform. "Then perhaps Lord Commander Voss can explain this." Another holographic display showed the eternal glory before and after Marcus's repairs. The technical readouts clearly showed the massive improvements in efficiency and performance. The human Marcus Webb accomplished in one day what our best engineers said would take months, Starweaver announced. "He has revolutionized our understanding of harmonic resonance technology." More murmurs, these ones excited and interested. Marcus saw several alien representatives leaning forward to get a better look at the technical data. Prince David rose from his platform. "Father, Lord Commander Voss planned to use his marriage to my sister to assassinate our family and seize control of the Dominion. We have recordings from his own ships proving this conspiracy." The holographic display changed again, showing communications between Voss and his conspirators. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable, but Voss was not finished. "Even if these accusations were true," he snarled, "what does it matter? Humans are still a primitive species unworthy of alliance with the Dominion. One clever mechanic does not change that fact." "One clever mechanic," Marcus said, stepping forward. His voice carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just one human who got lucky." The chamber fell silent. Marcus could feel thousands of alien eyes watching him. "But I'm not the only human who thinks differently," Marcus continued. "My people have been exploring space for centuries, fixing problems and helping others. We may not have the fastest ships or the most powerful weapons, but we have something else." "And what is that?" asked a voice from one of the platforms. "We don't give up. When everyone else says something is impossible, humans keep trying until we find a way. When someone needs help, we help them even if there's nothing in it for us. When a machine is broken, we fix it. When a song is out of tune, we help it find. It's harmony again." Marcus gestured toward Elena. "Princess Elena's ship was damaged and drifting. My people could have ignored it, called for help, waited for someone else to handle the problem. Instead, we brought her aboard and took care of her. Not because she was royalty, but because she needed help." The chamber was completely quiet now. Even Voss seemed to be listening. "Lord Commander Voss says humans are primitive and inferior," Marcus said. Maybe our technology is simpler than yours. Maybe our ships are slower. But we saved the life of your princess when your own people couldn't find her. We repaired a warship that your engineers said was beyond saving, and we stopped Voss's assassination plot before it could succeed. Marcus looked directly at Voss. You call that primitive? I call it getting the job done. A new voice spoke from the highest platform in the chamber. It was an ancient alien that looked like living crystal, one of the oldest and most respected members of the council. Young human, the crystal being said in a voice like wind chimes, your people intrigue us. But Lord Commander Voss raises a valid concern. What can humans offer the galaxy that we do not already possess? Marcus thought, for a moment. Then he smiled. We can teach you to listen. Explain. Every species here has incredible technology and knowledge. But how often do you really listen to each other? How often do you work together instead of competing? Humans are good at seeing connections that others miss. We're good at finding harmony where others see only discord. Marcus gestured around the chamber. Look at this room. Thousands of different species, all with different ideas and abilities. Imagine what you could accomplish if you really worked together. Humans could help you find that harmony. The crystal being was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke again. You propose that humans serve as mediators? Facilitators of cooperation? I propose that humans become partners, Marcus said firmly. Equal partners who contribute what we do best while learning from what you do best. Emperor. Valdris stood up slowly. The evidence against Lord Commander Voss is clear and undeniable. He will be arrested and tried for treason. Guards moved to surround Voss, who struggled but could not escape. As for the Human Alliance proposal, the Emperor continued, I believe we have seen enough evidence today. The Stellar Dominion formally recognizes humanity as a valued ally and equal partner. The chamber erupted in cheers and applause. Marcus felt Elena grab his hand and squeeze it tight. Furthermore, the Emperor said, raising his voice over the noise, I hereby dissolve the arranged marriage between my daughter and the traitor Voss. Princess Elena is free to choose her own path. Elena smiled and tears ran down her cheeks. Thank you, Father. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the newly built Joint Human Dominion Research Facility orbiting Station Omega-7. Through the large windows, he could see human and alien engineers working together on projects that would have been impossible for either species alone. Elena found him there, looking out at the stars. She wore simple work clothes now instead of royal robes, and she looked happier than he had ever seen her. The new harmonic resonance engines are exceeding all expectations, she reported. The combination of human intuition and Dominion precision is producing remarkable results. Good, Marcus said. Any word from the council meeting? 3 more civilizations have applied to join the alliance. Apparently, word is spreading that humans are worth knowing. Marcus chuckled. Who would have thought? A few months ago, most of the galaxy had never heard of us. Now we're partners in the most powerful alliance in known space. It all started with one human who couldn't walk away from a broken ship, Elena said softly. And one princess who was brave enough to trust a stranger. They stood together watching the stars, thinking about how much had changed. Elena was now the official ambassador between humanity and the Stellar Dominion. Marcus had been appointed Chief of Human-Alien Cooperative Engineering. Station Omega-7 had been transformed from a forgotten outpost into one of the most important facilities in the galaxy. Marcus, Elena said quietly, do you ever regret leaving your simple life as a station mechanic? Marcus considered the question seriously. Sometimes I miss the quiet, but then I think about all the good we're doing, all the problems we're solving, all the connections we're building between different peoples. How could I regret that? Besides, he added with a grin, I'm still just fixing broken things. They're just bigger broken things now." Elena laughed, the sound like music in the starlight. "And the galaxy is a better place because of it." Outside the station, ships from dozens of different species arrived and departed constantly, carrying goods, knowledge, and friendship between worlds that had never cooperated before. The alliance was growing stronger every day, and at the center of it all was a simple human mechanic who had learned that sometimes the most important repairs were not to machines, but to the connections between living beings. Marcus Webb had fixed a stranger's broken starship and gained the favor of the galaxy's royal family. But more than that, he had helped fix something much more important, the broken trust between civilizations. The galaxy was finally learning to sing in harmony, and the song was beautiful.